Powered by WCTV.tv. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
The Big Bend battered by fierce winds, drenching rain, and radar-confirmed tornadoes. Governor DeSantis now declaring an emergency. We are live all across the Big Bend as residents, businesses, and schools try to pick up the pieces. Thank you for joining us at 6 tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro.
And I'm Jacob Murphy. Many in the capital city woke up to a terribly powerful storm, and in its aftermath, many of you sharing dramatic videos, images, and incredible stories. We've been working all day to cover the impact of the storm and understand the scope of the damage.
We have WCTV team coverage on the ground throughout Tallahassee. Brianna Shaw is checking on Leon County schools. We'll also check in on devastation at Railroad Square.
But we begin tonight with our Zach Dahlheimer. He's in West Tallahassee learning more about how this storm turned deadly. Zach.
Yeah, good evening, Jacob, Julie. This is a situation that no one wants to hear about, especially during a storm that came through earlier this morning. We first broke this story earlier at noon. One woman killed during the storm, and right now responders and families are working to pick up the pieces at spots that resemble like what you see here at the Mystic Woods condos here in West Tallahassee near West Pensacola Street. In fact, take a look at me over the right shoulder. Our photojournalist Sam Thomas is giving you a look. This is an extent of the damage you see all around this complex. Trees falling down, damaging roofs, units, cars, you name it. This damage is widespread. But in fact, we want to take you back out to the scene where the woman was killed earlier in Leon County. This is over at Anon Lane near Anon. Well, thank you so much, John. From the Tallahassee airport. Now, a spokesperson with the Leon County Sheriff's Office says the woman died after a tree came through her home, pinning her down. Her significant other was able to get out okay, but many, including one neighbor we were able to talk with, were emotional after what happened earlier this morning.
It's a tragedy, and as soon as things calm down, I'm gonna, go over there and give them my condolences. But all you can do is just pick up the pieces. And time goes, life goes on, and we all here with this for a short period of time.
Yeah, just a tragic situation all around. In fact, the LCSO spokesperson told me that Tallahassee Fire, Leon County EMS also came out to help with this scene, and a crane even had to be brought out to get the tree out of there from that scene. Now, I spoke with Leon County's emergency management director earlier today, and he says that crews are likely going to be out all throughout the weekend assessing the damage and really getting a wide scope of what happened and helping clear roads and address downed trees like you see behind me here at the Mystic Woods condos. Now, we'll have a full wrap-up of what our photojournalist Sam Thomas and I saw and talked to all throughout today as people pick up the pieces coming up later on Eyewitness News at 11. But for now, we're live in Tallahassee. Zach Dahlheimer, WCTV Eyewitness News.
All right, Zach, on an already tough day, the news of a death was not the news we wanted to hear. Thank you so much for bringing us that report. Well, in the heart of the capital city, parts of Railroad Square nearly unrecognizable tonight. Dozens of business owners woke up to roofs caved in and large debris. Many of them don't know what their next steps are going to be. Let's show you some of the video there. One of these business owners tells us that she came into her shop early this morning, just moments before the storm hit. She says when she walked outside, the first thing she noticed was the damage at Able Artists just a few feet away. Now, she says that a tree punctured a hole into her art gallery and left the roof leaking with water pooling onto the floor. She says her first priority was getting the hundreds of original art pieces out safely.
Tons of original artwork that we needed to get out this morning, and almost all of it's out. Now we've just got people picking it up. But this place is my heart, this is a big blow, and not just for me, for the whole park.
So many people devastated by just these images here. Now, McBride says the business owners were advised to salvage what they can and do so safely, as there were several active power lines and large debris scattered in the area. McBride says all she can do at this point is take it one day at a time, and that is the mindset that so many in this area are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, and the scene there is just really unbelievable, incredibly devastation there. Well, this video shows a down power line in Tallahassee sparking a small fire on the side of the road. It's one of many lines knocked down by the storm today. The city is reporting nearly 500 outages. That's over 70,000 customers impacted as of last check. Swanee Valley Electric Company also has thousands of people without power, about 17,000. We do have a full list of all the outages and where you can check the latest numbers yourself on WCTV.tv.
Damage from the storm prompting Leon County to shut down all of its schools. Many students already in school or on their way when that call was made, and as storms swept through the area and the district made that decision.
Many were without power and 2 schools were damaged. Our Brianna Shaw has been speaking with the superintendent of Leon County. And Brianna, which schools did he say were most impacted today?
Well, Julie, Jacob, Rocky Hanna told me Fort Brayton School and Woodville Elementary Schools were both greatly impacted by the storms this morning, but LCS is still working to assess the extent of that damage. Now, as I drove along Woodville Highway earlier today, I saw several trees in the road and down power lines. Hanna said the severity of the storm was unexpected, but seeing the damage to the schools is what led up to the decision to close all campuses. Now, at this point, some students were already in those classrooms earlier today, and here's what Hanna shared about why the district made that call and what their plans are moving forward.
So we kept operations as normal. Once the alarms went off, we were already in the process of dropping students off at our high schools. So we immediately froze operations at our high schools, kept our buses there, and got our students into safety, moved them into the hallways. After the storms passed, it was our intent to reopen and move on with elementary school openings and middle school openings. We'll work hard over the course of the weekend to get all the damage assessed and cleaned up to get our schools opened on Monday.
Now, Hanna acknowledged part of the challenge today was that students were in the midst of testing and statewide assessments. Now, Hanna says parents should monitor the district's website and social media over the weekend for any updates about schools reopening. For now, live in Tallahassee, Brianna Shaw, WCTV Eyewitness News.
All right, certainly a logistical challenge for so many families this morning in addition to having to deal with the storm. Thank you so much, Brianna, for bringing us the latest.
Well, we rode out Highway 90 today and into Gadsden County. One of our stops was on Milton Street near Quincy. Take a look. This is Reginald Akins. He lives on Milton Street. There are trees down literally all around his house. You can see them twisted and snapped there in the distance. Akins is grateful that his house was barely touched. The worst of it, he says, seems to be his crushed car.
I'm devastated, put it like that. It's just amazing what nature can do.
And you were home when this happened. Describe to me what you were hearing and seeing.
The house was like rumbling and shaking, and that's pretty much all I could hear and see, because like I say, I just hunkered back down and say I was gonna ride it out.
Akins said all this happened in just a matter of moments, and when we stopped by this afternoon, you can see Milton Street was still closed with trees across the road as far as we could see. Now, Akins is one of many people we talked to today who tell us they are just thankful to be alive.
Absolutely. That gratitude does go a long way, as does the community effort to start that rebuild process. Let's turn now to meteorologist Austin Lowe as we kind of survey the damage. We understand the National Weather Service will be out in the near future to decide if there were, in fact, tornadoes out here.
Yeah, guys, and what was intriguing about some of that video you saw, it was the twist in some of those trees there. And based on what we've seen as meteorologists, WCTV First Alert Weather Team, there is some inclination that parts of Gadsden County and western Leon County were indeed impacted by tornadoes. Again, that's not confirmed. That's going to be confirmed officially by the National Weather Service in the coming days. We're not dealing with severe weather as of right now, but I have seen a few heavier showers and thunderstorms that are going to try to move through. It is the waiting game right now. Matter of fact, just heard a loud downpour over the station here. It's a waiting game for this front that is eventually going to slide through as we head into the late evening. But I say between now and 9 o'clock, folks south of Interstate 10 have that opportunity for showers and maybe a thunderstorm. I think it's mostly going to be just heavier showers. And then as that slides through this evening, we've got much quieter conditions. That bleeds into your weekend, which is good news for cleanup efforts. We'll have a look at your Mother's Day forecast and much more coming up in just about 10 minutes.
All right, we need as big a quiet stretch as we can get, Austin. We'll see you in a bit.
This mobile home park on Tallahassee's west side devastated by today's storms. Trees falling on several homes there. One woman telling us it was the scariest night of her entire life.
Neighbors at the park just off 90 say this family that lived in this home had to escape through the windows that you can see boarded in this video to get out of their home because they were trapped. This park is just behind Seminole Mobile Home Supplies. Its roof torn off. This tower had stood since Hurricane Kate, and it was toppled in an instant.
Life-changing suddenly for others in Greenwood Park Mobile Home Estates today. That's about a mile east of Capitol Circle Southeast.
Our Ava Van Valen spoke with folks out there, some no longer able to say they have a place to call home. And Ava, it was difficult to get there. We understand the road's impassable.
It was completely impassable. The section of Old St. Augustine Road from Capitol Circle to the Greenwood Park community is blocked by downed trees and power lines, of very, very difficult and dangerous to walk down. Now, when I arrived, neighbors were trying to cut up a large tree that was blocking the road, and I met Connie. She's Greenwood Park's manager. She said that about 7 o'clock this morning, she heard a big gust of wind and a tree fell on top of her house. She ran outside and said everything was just flying around. Connie then went door to door to make sure everyone in the community was all right and saw the unbelievable amount of damage that had been done to many of the mobile homes. Now, the young couple that I talked to, they did not want to speak on camera. They said they had just moved in yesterday with their 3 cats. They told me they were sitting at the back of their mobile home when they heard a huge crash. A tree fell onto the home right next to them. It trapped them in the front. The tree was so close, the man said that he could feel it pressing on his back. Now, the trailer is demolished. One of their cats is missing, and neighbors are now helping them search.
Everybody's working together, trying to pull together to make the best out of this that we can. We've never been hit this hard, and I've been here almost 10 years.
Now, there is no power and very spotty cell phone service at Greenwood Park right now. The people that live there say they are going to need a lot of help, and it is just incredible that with all the devastation and those close calls at Greenwood, thank goodness no one was seriously hurt.
Yeah, and I couldn't echo that more as we visited so many neighborhoods and communities today. Lots of damage, and thankfully, we did have one fatality, but I have not heard about a lot of injuries. So that's
the widespread of impact, though, is just so hard to fathom. Ava, thank you. Let's return now to meteorologist Austin Lowe. And as Austin, we start to lay out the plan for the next few days. We would love a nice quiet stretch.
Yeah, and we do have a few days that will end up on the drier side, which is really good news. And this just from the National Weather Service. They're going to be sending out 2 teams tomorrow to survey damage in southeast Alabama and 3 possible damage paths in Gadsden and Leon County. And some of that is certainly the damage reports we've seen so far today, and a lot of the big damage in Gadsden County we've seen pictures of for sure. We've had over 50 reports across the Big Bend in South Georgia from the storms this morning, majority of them being tree damage or high wind gusts, the highest of which was at FAMU's weather stem, which was 84 miles per hour, well over hurricane force. That's the kind of destruction we saw today across the Big Bend in South Georgia, from mainly one big squall line that is very similar to a derecho. It's not technically a derecho because it has to go through several hundred miles to be one, but it had very similar winds like one. So just very nasty stuff for the southeast this morning, and the heart of it was in our neck of the woods. Now, we're dealing with much less intense stuff as of right now. Over the station, we did hear a good downpour, so if you are in central Leon County, we're looking at, yes, moderate to even some heavy rainfall east and northeast of town. That is going to continue to move slowly to the south and east. Not severe, not even thunder or lightning with it, so just hunker down. I know a lot of us are still outdoors trying to take care of the damage that was left behind, and I am seeing a few more heavier showers and no thunder just yet with these, but wouldn't be shocked to see 1 or 2 bull thunderbolts of lightning in southern Wakulla County and southern Liberty County as these showers and, again, possibly thunderstorms continue to work to the south. That's because the instability has built up just a little bit, mainly for our coastal areas, and maybe could be seeing a few spot showers or storms build up for those in Jefferson, Madison, and Taylor County. So we'll be watching that over the next half hour or so. Again, not really anticipating severe weather with this. It's just the next couple of hours. If you're south of Interstate 10, we're going to be watching for some heavier showers and maybe a rumble of thunder. Don't think the front completely clears all of the area until about 10 o'clock. That's when you'll start to notice a change in the atmosphere, much less humid atmosphere, which will also bring in some drier air too, which means some sunshine to start your weekend. For tonight, we've got 60s. Drying and clearing is what it's all about, with a light wind. For your forecast tomorrow, it's a partly to mostly sunny day. More clouds for the coastal areas, but temperatures feeling cooler, relatively speaking, because we've been in the mid, and even yesterday topped out at 96 degrees. So not as hot, not as humid. If you're planning on heading out to the waters, still a little bit choppy, seas about 2 to 4 feet. And for your Mother's Day, it looks mostly dry, a small chance of showers, but otherwise staying dry, and then a more unsettled pattern looks to return next week.
Yeah, don't like seeing those thunderbolt images, lightning bolt images on your 7-day.
Yes.
For sure. All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Austin.
And still ahead, college campuses around our area not escaping untouched. Trees uprooted at TCC and damage done at FSU and FAMU. We'll have a live report after this. Check out the damage on FSU's campus. This aerial footage showing the FSU circus absolutely destroyed. Tents knocked down. And then there's damage at Dick Hauser Stadium. Fences there bent in, trash blowing around, the entire campus soaked through.
Yeah, the campus closed today and crews are evaluating the damage and working to clean up. Let's turn now to Sports Director Ryan Kelly joining us live now from Dick Hauser Stadium. Ryan?
Well, Jacob, Julie, you've by chance seen it now, the damage here at Dick Hauser Stadium. It went viral online this morning, and of course, we were able to show you some of that at 5. It's arguably the sports facility with at least the most visible damage here in the city of Tallahassee. But the question now turns to how quickly can the park be back playable, and how quickly can fans be ready to come back to the friendly confines? A friendly reminder, the 8th-ranked Seminoles are on the road. They're actually taking on Pitt as we speak this weekend, but they're slated to be back at home Thursday for a regular season finale series against Georgia Tech. From there, they'll have just a week away in Charlotte for the ACC tournament. But as things sit right now, the Noles are expected to be a top 8 national seed, meaning they would have the right to host postseason games until the College World Series. That, of course, an advantage that Florida State wouldn't want to miss out on, as well as some revenue the school wouldn't want to miss out on as well. I was told earlier today that we might get a statement from Athletic Director Michael Alford today, and if we do get one of those, we will certainly let you know tonight at 11. Meanwhile, on the highest of 7 hills at Florida A&M, Bragg Memorial Stadium came out not so bad from the storms, except for one very visible marker. A metal light pole pinned perfectly in 2, with many of the lights still intact that are supposed to overlook Ken Riley Field. Now, as I drove through campus today at FAMU, most of the damage I saw in the athletics facilities was debris and fencing, with the FAMU football practice field, the tennis courts, and of course newly named Veronica Wiggins Field bearing most of that fence damage. It appeared as though most of the damage at Moore Kittles Field was debris, and as you saw there just a little bit earlier, there's a big tree split in half in its parking lot out in right field. Now, just like FSU, Florida A&M baseball is on the road this weekend to Alabama State, so thankfully all these storms does not affect, of course, what is a pivotal weekend as the regular season starts to come down to a close. And for softball fans wondering about what Veronica Wiggins Field, or excuse me, what Joanne Graff Field here at FSU may look like for a potential regional next week, well, at least from what I was able to see, the damage is very minimal to none, so it looks as though softball may have dodged a bullet there. But for now, Julie, Jacob, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Ryan, yeah, hopefully we can get that repaired quickly so we can see the Noles play at home very soon. Thanks, Ryan.
We'll be right back. Well, in the last half hour, we've seen major devastation. We've also seen the resilience of this community. And as we get ready for this Mother's Day weekend, we could use some sun.
And we're going to get it, especially tomorrow, keeping things dry and much cooler, too.
And our best wishes to everyone dealing with damage out there. Best of luck this weekend. CBS News.